we have a new contract signed in the NFL. Grandy hit the sound earlier. It was breaking news. Trevor Lawrence has signed a 5-year extension worth $275 million, of which $200 million is guaranteed. The total guaranteed at signing, $142 million. So what does this mean for young Brock Purdy, FP? As Brock Purdy's now a year away, Trevor Lawrence has played 3 years in the National Football League, and as a first-round pick, he already had his 5th-year option picked up, so he'll play out year 4, and then the extension will kick in, and Trevor Lawrence will be making $55 million a year. What does this mean for Brock Purdy and the 49ers? 888-957-9570 is the phone number. Does this number, the fact that Trevor Lawrence is getting $55 million a year,
that's crazy.
Does Brock match it? Does he get slightly less? Does he get more? And what does that mean for the future of the Niners' other highly paid players? 888-957-9570 is the phone number as we take a look and start counting Trevor's pockets.
The $55 million average salary ties him with Joe Burrow for the top mark in that category in the NFL. So Lawrence and Burrow making $55 million a year. Jared Goff coming in third at $53 million. Justin Herbert, $52.5. Lamar Jackson, $52 million. And the best quarterback on the planet, Patrick Mahomes, making $46 million. But I think he restructured his contract, which is something that Brock Purdy can also do eventually to get better guys and to surround him. But, like, you get yours, dude. Like, if you're Brock Purdy, you can't sit there when you're Mr. Irrelevant and go, you know what, I'll take less because I want our team to be good. You get paid, dude. And Lawrence, if I'm not mistaken, was a turnover machine his first 3 seasons. 60 turnovers. 21 turnovers in 2023, 14 interceptions, 7 lost fumbles. So there are only 11 quarterbacks who have made their debut since 1978 that turned the ball over more than Lawrence. And that's some pretty good ones. Warren Moon, Steve DeBerg, Peyton Manning, and John Elway. So he turns the ball over, but he's got the cannon. He's a prototypical quarterback. He's been a first-round pick since the day he walked into Clemson. You knew he was going to be a first-round pick. But I think Brock Purdy, I don't think he's going to make $55 million. Even though his resume is better than Trevor Lawrence, I just don't think he's going to get that much money. I think his thing is he's always going to have to shed that label. Every single game he goes,
Irrelevant label.
Yeah, he's always but I don't think it's a bad thing. He's going to go have to prove himself again this year, and he's going to go out every week, and he needs to play with a chip on his shoulder. I would argue that Brock Purdy with a $55 million, $103 million deal, whatever it is, $200 million guaranteed, whatever it is, he won't be as good as he is now. And there's probably people listening that know him better. They're probably, FP, you're wrong. And I would love to be wrong for this. And maybe I'm just like equating it to myself too much. But like, I think what makes Brock Purdy so good, Brock Purdy, slow down, so
Brock
good.
Purdy.
Yeah, whatever. So good is that he likes to prove people wrong. He has that chip on his shoulder. Screw you mentality. Like, I'm going to show you that I'm not that guy. And then once you get to the top of the mountain, you take a deep breath. I think it's human nature. If that's what you've been your whole life, all of a sudden you're like, well, I'm set. And I'm nervous about that. And maybe wrongfully so. And I hope I'm way off on this take.
I don't think that every player is cut that way. But I do think it is a little bit of human nature. If you go from making $1 million a year to making $55 million a year, there's a certain sense of, okay, I'm a made man now, but also you could just go out there and play more freely. You don't have to worry about every mistake. And I don't think that Brock Purdy has played like that at all. He doesn't show me that he's a player who really worries about mistakes. When he makes a mistake, he comes right back and, puts the pads back on and goes out there and tries to make another play.
I think it's a mentality. It's a mindset about staying hungry. We touched on it earlier in the show today. And you've always been that guy to prove people wrong and to show people you're wrong. And you have that chip on your shoulder and that mentality that I'm going to show you I'm not too small. I'm going to show you that my arm's not is good enough. And I'm going to show you that I can do this. And then all of a sudden you get paid like these guys. Maybe you take a deep breath. Sometimes it's harder to live up to the contract than to actually get to the contract itself. And maybe this is just a crazy, stupid, negative take. I'm just winging it on live radio right now. But there's something to that. A lot of guys take a deep breath when they make it. A lot of guys feel the pressure to live up to the contract when they make it. Might be seeing that over on the corner of 3rd and King right now with some players. But so, do I want Brock Purdy to get paid? Does he deserve it? Absolutely. If it were me, would I pay him more than 55? Probably. But I just hope that it doesn't change the way he goes about it. And I'm not saying work ethic. These guys would be lazy and show up late to meetings. I'm just saying to have that same inner drive and that desire and that hunger to be great. That's the part I'm a little bit concerned about. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I hope you're wrong, and you never know until you actually go through that. And for Brock Purdy, he's not going to be able to go through that for a long time, at least another full season. And if he has another great year like he did this year, then it's a problem that you'd be happy to have to suffer through, because you mentioned the numbers. Brock Purdy had 4,280 yards, which was 264 more than Trevor Lawrence. 31 Ts for Brock, 21 for Trevor. Trevor threw 14 picks. Brock only threw 11. So the numbers are not even close. They're somewhat close, but they slant all the way toward Brock Purdy. And then you look at the playoff numbers. Brock Purdy is 4-2 in his 2 seasons. Trevor Lawrence is 1-1. They didn't make the playoffs last year. Brock Purdy already has more experience. He's got better numbers. So when the contract it's time for him to get that contract, which most likely will be at the end of next year, because you usually don't have a player go into the final year of their deal, which is what they avoided with Trevor Lawrence. You didn't want him to go into his 4th year and then have to worry about his 5th year option the year after that. So he gets his extension now, and that'll be the case for Brock Purdy at the end of next year. I would imagine that he'll look at the Trevor Lawrence number of $55 million and a total guarantee of $200 million. And he'll look at that number and say, yeah, Niners, I'd like to have something along those lines.
And he'll get it, hopefully. I just hope it doesn't change the way he goes about it or his hunger.
I would be more worried about it changing the way they go about it. And by that, players. I mean other players. Because, you've already got Christian McCaffrey, who felt like he wanted and deserved more money, and he got it. And Brandon Ayuk is sitting here hoping that he gets a contract extension. And we can get more into that in just a minute. But I think if Brock Purdy gets Trevor Lawrence type money at $55 million a year, even though the cap will go up most likely between now and then, that still is a whole big piece of the cap at $55 a year.
Aren't they preparing for that, though? Don't they always prepare for that? It's not like this is going to come out of nowhere and like, oh my God, did you guys remember we have to pay Brock today?
Right.
Like, did you put that in the auto pay? Because that's due, and I don't know what we're going to do now. Yeah, we'll see. I'm just looking at these numbers, and I'm feeling really old, dude. And this is making me. I'm making this about me right now.
Okay.
I'm feeling.
It's been a while since you made it about you.
It's been 3 minutes and 26 seconds. I'm seeing 55, 55, 53, 52, 52. And I know they're risking their lives every Sunday. They really are. I don't care what anybody says. That's not an exaggeration. But man, 142 million, 200 million, 142 guaranteed. This is nuts. I think I remember when Reggie Jackson signed with the Yankees for like $100,000 a year, and it was a big thing.
Yeah.
Just like throwing numbers like 55 million around. It's nuts.
Yeah.
God bless them. It's nuts.
It is. And I mean,
it's nuts.
It's all crazy money when you make what the average person makes, and then you go all the way down the list of quarterbacks and you try to find Brock Purdy on this list, and you got to go all the way down. Do you know how many quarterbacks make more money than Brock Purdy?
Every single one of them.
106 is the answer. He's the 107th highest paid quarterback in the National Football League. And you look at some of the names of the guys who are around him, and yet they make more, like Casey Bauman, Jason Bean, Carter Bradley. According to this list, even his teammate, Tanner Mordecai, makes more than Brock Purdy.
Tanner Three Fingers Mordecai?
Thank you.
Is that his name? Is that his nickname?
That's an incredible 80-year-old reference right there for Major League Baseball.
You should see him throw it. He's only got 3 fingers.
Mordecai Brown, right? Is who you're referring to.
The spin he puts on the football on a post pattern across the middle with just 3 fingers is incredible, Bob.
Yeah. Boy, can he spin
and he makes more than Brock Purdy, so screw Brock Purdy.
I mean, he's set to make 1.1 in base next year, and then he's going to get about a $55 million a year raise and start to make the real quarterback money after that. But it just reminds you of how fortunate the Niners are to be able to do what they do. But you're right, FP. They have planned for it. They're continuing to work toward the reality that you have a quarterback who you like, and you have a quarterback who's going to make Trevor Lawrence type money. And even if he doesn't quite get all the way up to Trevor Lawrence, you mentioned the numbers of quarterbacks who do make obscene money, and it's all the quarterbacks that make at least $40 million. There's 14 of them who make at least $40 million a year average annual, and he's going to easily be up in that category. He's probably going to get around 50 minimum, I would guess.
Kyler Murray's making $103.3 million. Not a fan. Yeah. I'm not seeing it with him. Jalen Hurts, 110.
Yeah.
Jared Goff, 113.6. Yeah.
And that's the true guarantee? Or
you saw Brock Purdy, this is tongue in cheek, by the way. Don't take this seriously. You saw Brock Purdy at the concert, right?
Yeah.
At the country concert, like smashing beers and pounding them. That's after a Super Bowl. When he signs that contract, he's going to have earrings, let his hair grow down like Trevor Lawrence down his back. He's going to be driving like, a Phantom Rolls Royce to the yard every day. He's going to change. Probably change.
Yeah, I don't see it.
He's not going to change.
He's not going to change
at all.
He's not
going to change a bit.
I just wonder, though, because if you look at a lot of these quarterbacks who have gotten the life-changing money, like Patrick Mahomes hasn't really changed. He seems to be the same kind of quarterback who's only interested in winning, and that's all he's done, even though his contract got reworked, and his guarantee is only $63 million, only $63 million. Deshaun Watson got $230 million fully guaranteed. His guaranteed at signing is $230 million, and he's been bad. He's been garbage.
That's sports talk radio money right there.
Seriously.